Check. Okay. Here we go again. I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it this time because now I am here. Yo, I am back. How is it? How is it going, everybody? I'm sorry for... Yeah, no, I'm actually not trolling us. I'm trolling us. Trolling you? This is... I'm here. I am awake, somehow. And this is a beer, and it's delicious. I got these glasses, or an IPA glass, and it feels so fancy to drink beer out of these glasses. It's amazing. So, yeah, I'm back here. Do I have any New Year's resolutions to practice more? So what happened? I will leave that for you to figure out. My cat started making a weird noise. So, can't see anything? Hello? Would you play at Trump's inauguration? Definitely not. Actually, no, I would, but I would play Strange Fruit. I think that whoever the fuck, whatever her name was, her decision to play Strange Fruit, I think, is the funniest thing ever. And if she actually did that and trolled Trump with Strange Fruit, that would have been one of the most epic moments. Because Strange Fruit is like a pretty fucking amazing piece of music. Do you think Seth Everman is ripping you off? I checked his videos out. Not really. I mean, he just has like an irreverent sense of humor. So maybe, but not really. What's that mic? This is the AKG C214. C214. Rick and Morty fan? Yeah, the stuff I've checked out is pretty sweet. I haven't watched a whole lot of it, though. So, have you ever played New Zealand? I wish. I've never been to that side of planet Earth before. That is on my to-do list. I haven't traveled a lot recently. I'm going to be traveling a lot more this next year, so hopefully. I'm not trolling right now. I'm actually here. Wait, are you touring? I want to tour. It's just kind of a pain in the ass to set up, but, you know, at some point I'll get a booking agent and book my own stuff. Rule the world that way, but probably not right now. Anyway. Have you ever listened to Trio of Doom? It's a live album of John McLaughlin, Jocko, and Tony Williams jamming. Yes, I have. It's awesome because you can kind of hear how frustrated all three musicians are with one another. Because Jocko is just going off and doing his own thing, and John McLaughlin apparently was absolutely furious with Jocko the entire time because Jocko wasn't like playing any of the right chord changes. He was just kind of like strung out and just like playing aggressively and randomly, and it's actually kind of cool. It's like one of the most spectacular train wrecks if you listen to the Trio of Doom record. What advice would you give to bass players to become better outside of practice? Learn how to market yourself. At least learn how to, like, I don't want to say market yourself. Learn what it is that you do well. So that comes through practicing. So say like you are the slap bass player guy and you can slap really, really well, like really market yourself as the slap bass player guy. And that's something that you want to do, like really like go for it. Something that I think about a lot is the idea of personal branding. So if you know what it is that you do well and you like what you do, like really make sure that everybody around you knows that. And that's the best way to find other people to play with and find success as a musician, I think. Oh, yeah. Ready to talk about microtonal music yet? Not really. You know, the longer, you know, the more I make these videos, the more I want to research stuff. Like the video that I have coming out on Monday, I spent like a good, 3-4 weeks researching. And it has nothing to do with microtonal music. It has nothing to do with anything that I've talked about previously. But, yeah, just like it takes a long time to do the research, and I just want these videos to be as awesome as possible. So, anyway. So Adam, are you drinking any tasty beer right now? Yes, I am. I'm drinking the same beer I was about a half an hour ago. This is the Rebel Grapefruit IPA by Sam Adams, Boston Beer Company. It's pretty good, pretty decent. The grapefruit actually is really nice with the IPA flavor. I'm normally not a fan of grapefruit type things, but the acidity of the grapefruit matches very well with the aggressive hoppiness, and it's just a very, very hoppy beer. I'm enjoying it. Boo Sam Adams. Well, fuck you, you bougie piece of shit. Sam Adams has some good beers. Adam, do you plan to make some song covers? Yeah, at some point. I actually do have some covers of songs in the works. I don't feel like going back to the idea of like personal branding. I don't feel like my personal brand is to post song covers. That's just not something that like I do that often. But because if I do post a song cover, it will be in the context of a lesson. Like, this is how you play this song, and this is some interesting thing about that song, and let's talk about that song. But yeah. Any thoughts on Eric Czar? I don't know who Eric Czar is. I'm currently a Berkeley student. Do you have any professor recommendations? Well, it depends on what you're studying at Berkeley. As a bass player, I took 3 semesters with Dave Buda and 1 semester with Joe Santerre. I did not click with Joe Santerre at all. It just was not my thing. But Dave Buda was really awesome. I've heard people have mixed feelings about Dave Buda, but I really dug Dave Buda. Have you ever been coerced into singing? Yeah, and there's examples of me singing online. If you want to check out, actually, why am I doing this? Oh, I think I'm doing this right now. Let me find some pretty awesome examples of me singing lead while playing bass. It's pretty hilarious. There was a short-lived band. It wasn't that short-lived. That I played with my buddies. Yeah, here it is. All right, I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat. Basically, if you want to see me sing, here it is. Basically, 5 years ago, me and my buddies decided to start this country and rock band for some reason, because we got this gig at this venue called Spike Hill, which doesn't exist anymore. Gentrification in Williamsburg has now turned Spike Hill into an Equinox gym. Boo gentrification. But we got this gig, and part of the stipulation of the gig was we needed to play a bunch of country and rock covers. So we're like, can any of us sing? Kind of, not really. Let's kind of learn how to sing. So if anybody wants to watch me attempt to sing, check that out. It's really, really embarrassing. But hey, whatever. It's 5 years ago. I've gotten a lot better since then. Maybe not on singing, but on bass playing. So whatever. I enjoyed your New Year's Eve gig vlog, especially eels. That joke, by the way, was not my joke. I wish I could take credit for it, but it's actually Justina's friend Meg who was singing along. That was her joke originally, and I found it very funny. So, great vocal fry, ha ha ha. Yeah, it's something I'm trying to eliminate. Maybe if I talk more like this right now, I can eliminate the vocal fry, and that's exactly what I'm doing. But I'm not going to do that because I'm lazy and I'm drinking beer and I'm tired. So whatever, it's back to vocal fry. Tips on getting into a GB/wedding band community around a local city, Boston. Well, in Boston, I know there's East Coast Soul, or I don't know. There's a few wedding bands I know up in Boston. The way that I got into my wedding band was that I just applied to a Craigslist ad. It was a relatively new wedding band when it was starting, and now it's a little bit more mainstream, or not mainstream, a little bit more established. So it's a little trickier. The trick, I think, in terms of getting in is just knowing a bunch of songs. It's hard. There's a very, very popular corporate band in New York called Hank Lane, and when you audition for them, you need to know a lot of songs. So that's my thing. Know a lot of songs. Greetings from Chile, watching at 5 a.m. Go to bed, man. Although I should probably go to bed. You ever mess with the Operator Synth Live? Any interest in sound design? Yeah, I do a fair amount of stuff with Operator. I obviously don't. I'm not super awesome at operator, but I can like come up with some wub wub bass lines with it, you know. Do you like Andrew Huang? Yeah, Andrew Huang is awesome. He's a really awesome YouTuber. He's actually probably one of my favorite musician YouTubers right now. One of my favorites, because he likes to break down things. Like, he likes to explain how music works. And I think that is something that he does very, very clearly and very poignantly a lot of the times. In a way that doesn't talk down to people, but is still illuminating for other people. So now it's not super theory based at all. He has a much more practical sort of application of a lot of the musical topics that he talks about. But I really, really dig Andrew Huang. Wolfpack, you like? I do. Skipping school for this. Good job, man. Skip that school. I ship Adam Neely and Ben Levin Beely Hart. Yep, you know, at some point that will happen. Hey, Adam, what's the news on Sungazer or any original projects you're involved in? Really love Volume 1. Keep it up, dude. Yeah, more Sungazer. I keep saying this, but more Sungazer is in the works. We just finished editing one of the videos. Sean just finished recording some new stuff. Basically, if you want to check out stuff that's not on Volume 1, by the way, Sungazer is my band, go over to Sean Crowder's drum channel, because there's several tracks that we recorded and we videotaped, we filmed of us playing that weren't on Volume 1, and they'll be on Volume 2 whenever that's released. But if you want to check out more of that stuff, you can definitely go over there. Check. So, by the way, guys, can you see my face? I'm just curious, because there seems to be some weird stuff happening with my face and the lack thereof. I just want to make sure that everybody can see my face. Okay, cool. Sweet. All right, good. No problem. My beautiful face. There's a ghost in the machine. There was a cat running around. I can't feel my face when I'm with you. How much did you practice when you were at Berklee? I practiced a fair amount. That's probably the most per day that I ever practiced was when I was at Berklee, which wasn't that much, to be honest. But the most I improved just in general was when I was at Berklee. Now, that said, it was maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. It wasn't like the ridiculous like 5 to 6 hours or whatever, but it was at least 2 to 3 hours I tried to get in of dedicated practice. What is your opinion on using weed to boost creativity while writing? I don't do it. I can't imagine any sort of situation where I would do it. Now, if it works for other people, sure, why not? What is musically the most challenging piece you ever played? Musically the most challenging, like, man, I honestly don't know. I'll have to think about that and get back to you. Why not make an how to practice video? I might do that. That would definitely get them clickbait views. How to practice bass. I can see that. I can't see the top of your dome. There we go. What strings did you use for drop A in that Vild jazz step song that won the award? That was the Marcus Miller fat beams, I think, but DR fat beams. I think so. Got like a 135 low B string. Super awesome, super low. What do you think of John Cage and his experimental music? I was actually thinking about this recently, Samantha Olendi. It's interesting because the art world, the visual art world, has had a glut of postmodernism, like, conceptual art. Like, the art means something based upon the concept of it, and music hasn't had that. The only person really in music that has had that idea that music is like the postmodern aesthetic really applies to music just because of John Cage, and he's kind of singular in that regard in terms of his like general approach to music, which I think is really refreshing because there really hasn't been an artist like John Cage ever since John Cage, which is really cool. Now, whether or not you enjoy his music is something else, but at the same time, it's really interesting. So, what do you think of Eric Andre? I think he's hilarious, but he seems kind of like a douche to me. A friend of mine's sister once dated Eric Andre. I know, crazy coincidence. Apparently, he is a total douche. He's a total asshole, but very funny. So, have you ever played a non-Christian wedding? I played plenty of Jew weddings. Them Jews really know how to party. I really enjoy playing the hora at Jewish weddings because it's like a fucking blast. People go nuts. There's like people up on chairs and dancing in circles and circles within circles. That's really fucking awesome. It's a lot of fun. What do you think of Victor Wooten? He is an inspiration to many bass players, and he is one of the greatest bass players of all time, second only to Jaco. How do you feel about Death Grips? I think they're cool. I've answered that a bunch of questions. I feel like every single video I get a question on Death Grips. Maybe I'll have to make a video on Death Grips because, holy shit, people really want to know my opinion on Death Grips. Are you confident with being a musician? Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Hey, some Christians dance with circles within circles at weddings too. Not as many. Not as many. Definitely the Jews have that up on the Christians. They love them dance circles. Have you ever heard of Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum? I have. It's an awesome band name. Whoa, hello. A lot of questions. How do I convince my middle school to buy a double bass for jazz band? That's a hard question, man. I don't really know how that would be possible, except maybe you can just like screenshot me saying like, buy this kid a double bass for your jazz band. That was not very good, but anyway. Adam, what do you think of the breathing effect? I don't know what the breathing effect is, so... what is the breathing effect? Adam, if you could have been the first to write a jazz standard, what would it have been and why? Lush Life by Billy Strayhorn is the most beautiful jazz standard by far. It is so goddamn good. Oh my god. It's also like one of these jazz standards that everybody says is really good, but then never really plays. I have learned how to play it, and it is just... oh god, Lush Life. And he wrote it when he was 17. That's the biggest weird thing about it. He wrote Lush Life when he was 17. When I was 17, I was just, playing video games in suburban Maryland, and Billy Strayhorn was busy writing one of the greatest jazz ballads of all time. What was your first bass? It was a P-bass knockoff. I forget exactly what it was, and I actually had to give that back. So my first bass that I owned for a long period of time was a Jay Terser 5-string bass. I don't know what happened to that one. Then after that was a Kurt Kerbau 6-string bass. I don't know what happened to that one. And after that 6-string bass was a Conklin 7-string bass. That one I sold. And then after that, I had my 5-string bass, which I still have. And then after that, I had my P bass. You recommended boiling bass strings to clean/renew them, but I read that doing that is a bad idea. You should actually soak them in denatured alcohol. Have you heard this before? I've done the denatured alcohol thing before. I prefer boiling them because the denatured alcohol makes if you leave them in too long, the strings have a very weird feel to it. Boiling, I feel, just for me personally, I've had better results with it, but the denatured alcohol will clean them. But at the same time, it leaves a weird. It can leave a weird residue, and it also the feel of the strings starts feeling incredibly I don't know. I don't like it. Have you ever done any solo bass gigs? Thoughts on solo bass? I have done my fair share of solo bass gigs, and I'm ambivalent on solo bass. Ambivalent meaning ambivalent. I feel two things at the same time. On the one hand, I really like playing solo bass because I feel like it is very expressive, and I can use a lot of my chops that I really like playing on solo bass or on regular bass and expand them for solo bass. But at the same time, it can be an uphill battle because bass legitimately can't do the same things that guitar can or piano can. And, guitar, it's a lot easier to do a solo guitar gig. Just like noodle on some chords and you're set. It's way harder to do a solo bass gig and make people like care about it. So anyway. Which is better to study hard, bass or six string? Well, there are six string basses. It really depends on your goals. It can be hard also in the beginning to know what your musical goals are. Like, do you just want to learn as much as you can about music? Well, then go with whatever you feel most comfortable with. If you want to play a lot of gigs, then figure out what in your area can get you the most gigs. And usually it's going to be bass, by the way, because there are way too many guitar players. So, my video stopped? No. Really? Can everybody still see my face? Okay. Thank you. What are people doing? I just can't see the video on the thing, so it's like, I don't know. Whatever. I'm a sax player and now just picking up bass. Anything I should be made hip to? Jaco Pastorius. Listen to Jaco Pastorius. He is the Jimi Hendrix of bass. Now, a lot of the stuff that he was doing might be the most technically amazing to you because you're now living in the future world of 2017. But Jaco Pastorius, when he first started playing bass the way he did in the 70s, was like nothing short of a revelation, the same way that Jimi Hendrix, when he started playing guitar the way he did in the 60s, was nothing short of a revelation for guitar players. Jaco Pastorius is the be-all, end-all. Hey, Adam, what do you think of Giant Steps? I think it's very difficult to play. And I also think it's very difficult to play with any sort of interesting... I think it's difficult to play where it's not just a weird exercise for you to prove that you can play in a bunch of keys at the same time. Go to sleep, you look tired. By the way, that's one of the worst insults that you can ever say to anybody. You look tired. Just think about that. Think about what that means. I mean, I am tired. I'm quite exhausted, but I'm just going to keep doing this because... What do you think about the band Chon? So many people ask me about the band Chon. I think they're great. I think it's interesting to hear that style of music played, because the whole progressive. It's a style of music that really stems from a lot of progressive metal, but they don't play with any gain on their guitars or very little gain. So it's an interesting thing, and I really dig what I've heard from them. But it's for me, I haven't. With a lot of bands, I feel like I haven't really dug into them as much as a lot of other people might. Thoughts on John Entwistle? In my humble opinion, he's comparable to Jaco in his own field. Yeah, I mean, John Entwistle definitely played the bass very different than other people did. So did Monk Montgomery. So did Stanley Clarke. I mean, there's a bunch of bass players that did some pretty incredible things before Jaco. It's just that Jaco did it so much more so, and he influenced so many more people in terms of their bass playing. John Entwistle is an amazing bass player, but in terms of inspiring people to take it to the next level, to go to very technical, being technically adept at the instrument. John Entwistle's technique, by the way, is quite sloppy. It's really cool too. It's really I love his playing, but it's very sloppy. It's great for what it is. But anyway, Jared Dines, I'm assuming. I get asked a lot of questions about Jared Dines and Rob Scallon and Davey, whatever his name is, the bass player version equivalent of those guys. I like what they do. I appreciate the technical craft in terms of how they understand what people will watch, if that makes any sense. They know, like they're all very adept, like musicians, and that's fine. I appreciate that. I don't get anything from their videos though. It's all very fluffy, which is fine. They're not designed to be like particularly, emotionally or artistically like inspiring pieces of music. They're just something that you can like scroll through and like, oh, that's funny. They're doing that thing. That's a funny thing that they're doing. Yeah. So I don't hate them by any stretch. I think what they're doing is really awesome. At the same time, I don't get anything from them because I'm not their target audience. Do you ever live stream on Facebook? Occasionally. It's normally just me noodling on bass. I get a little bit more out of the YouTube live streams, I think. Any advice for learning music theory from an ex-music theory squashes my creativity? That's a good question. I think when you're learning the meat of music, the academics of music, the music theory of music, focus a lot on ear training. I think that's something that has a little bit more that you can connect with on an emotional level, maybe, than just the dry, like this is this scale and this is this scale and whatever. All those scales are great, and learning all the scales is great, but like figuring out like names for all the sounds that like that's a 4 chord, that's a 1 chord. Oh, I know what that sound is. Now I have a name for it. Oh, I can hear that relationship of that chord to that chord. I think focusing on the ear training aspect of it will excite you a little bit more. And, if I had to learn music over again, that's how I would want to learn how to, that's how I would want to learn how to learn music. Yeah. The ear training aspect. Hey, Adam, I am a composition major. Any advice regarding the real world? Do you want to write compositions for a living? That's awesome. And there is a market for it. Just get good at writing grants, like American New Music grants. That whole like composition world is definitely possible to make a living being a composer. It's way harder, I think. It's way harder than you might. It's okay. Let me rephrase this. I'm tired. I've been drinking. It's difficult to be like a composer of serious music, but it is possible. It's definitely possible. Trying to learn Donnelly at 230 beats per minute by Wednesday. Am I fucked? Depends on how fast you can play it right now. I'm considering studying audio engineering. Is it worth it? I don't know, man. It can be difficult to say yes or no because the world doesn't need more audio engineers, honestly, because the studios are dying. Now, if you learn how to get into freelancing well, that would be a thing. But audio engineering is another field like music that it's just there's so many people going into it. Now, when I'm saying all this stuff, when I'm saying like all this stuff, like being like, how does it feel like to be in the real world? I don't mean to be discouraging. I just want to give people an understanding of what it is. It's just very hard. And most of the time it's going to be a war of attrition, how long you can last in the field. And most people give up. And that's when you like find your niche. And that's when you can start really building your career. It's because most people just can't hang, if that makes any sense. So anyway, I'm being a downer. I'm sorry about that. Darcy James Argue may be an interesting composer for some to get into. Darcy James Argue is awesome. I'm a Facebook friend with Darcy James Argue, and I very much enjoy talking with him about a variety of things. He once subbed on one of my classes in grad school, so I'm well familiar with Darcy James Argue. If you haven't checked out Darcy James Argue, check him out because he is a very forward-thinking jazz composer, and I really dig his stuff. Okay. Hey, Adam, if you were the head of a dying music department, collegiate level, how would you find and keep students? Well, here's the thing. Music departments are not dying. Music departments are definitely not dying. People want to learn music. The problem is the music industry is dying because there's not nearly the demand that there was, and there's too many people, and there's like a glut of people. I don't like the music education industry is growing. It's constantly growing. Now, in terms of like, if I was the head of a dying department, how would you find and keep students? Engage with students. I mean, I think it's kind of I don't want to say it's almost an easy thing. Engage with students in a way that they understand. The zeitgeist is very internet based. Understand the zeitgeist and understand how to engage with people on a musical level. And I feel like that's something I would just do what I do normally, because I feel like I understand like how people relate to music in a digital age, and they want to learn a lot of different. Hold on, this fucking cat. Get the fuck off there. All right. Well, there's a cat running around back behind me, but anyway. Jesus. Thoughts on Mono Neon? He's awesome. Any thoughts of what you'll do when you're older? I will hopefully teach at the university level. That's an end goal. I do want to make sure that I have healthcare, which, under our dear President-elect Trump, seems like I'm not going to have healthcare very soon. So I want to have healthcare. That's basically it. It's quite sad in the U.S. that we are completely at the whim of this new president. So, not to get too political. Ever been burnt out? Yes, I have. At the end of my undergraduate degree, after I gave my senior recital, I didn't play bass for like at the very least a month. I was just so burnt out from Berklee. So, I've been burnt out before. I think that the key is just to stop and let yourself breathe. The other thing that I do to prevent being burnt out is to rapidly shift between different things in my life that I never get too obsessed or too focused on one particular artistic thing for any length of time, because that's a surefire way of getting burnt out. So, do you know anything about future bass? If not, man, no problem. Just wanted to ask because to try a new genre with fundamental advices. Not really. Sorry. I do know that James Blake is associated with future bass, but beyond that, not really all too much. Have you ever flipped off Trump Tower? No, I have not, but I have walked by it many times. Adam, if I know enough theory to know how to do it, but I feel like I just don't know what to do when it comes to composing music. Do you think my next step is studying sheets to see how theory is used? If you want to compose something, there's this whole idea. There's a threefold path to composition. The idea is imitate, assimilate, innovate. And the first step when you're trying to figure out how to compose with theory or whatever is to imitate. So find something you want to imitate. Find just as an exercise. It doesn't have to be like anything, because you're learning how to compose. So in the beginning, your compositions are going to be kind of shitty. It's okay that everybody's compositions in the beginning are shitty. So find somebody or some music that you really want to just imitate, just to check out. Try and write your Snarky Puppy piece, or write your Metallica song, or just imitate something that you like. I don't know why I picked Metallica, but and then try and write a song in that style and see if you like it, and then maybe try writing another one, and then writing another one. Turn off the filter that says this is stupid, because it is going to be stupid. Everything you do, again, not to be a downer, but everything you do in the beginning is going to be really, really stupid. But the big thing is to learn that everybody's stupid in the beginning. You don't have to share whatever you do. Turn off the filter that says that this is stupid and just write something. A big part of it is literally just the process of getting something on the page, or just getting something recorded. So, anyway. How much do you love Metallica? Decent amount. I don't know. Do you want to get rich? I would love to get rich. That'd be fantastic. How much do you compress your bass when recording? A lot. I compress my bass a lot. It's just, for most things, a super compressed bass signal is just going to sound the best. Adam, have you ever used metronome on stage? Yes, I have. Not often, but whenever Sungazer has performed, we are all on a click because there's all sorts of things being triggered. So having a click in your ear is just a matter of staying synced with like tracks and things like that. I've done that before, not often because it can be a pain in the ass to set up, but I think it can be very helpful. I don't need it, obviously. Not obviously, but I don't need a click, and I don't feel like many people who would use a click on stage need a click to play reasonably in time. It's more about staying in sync with backing tracks, staying in sync with like video projections, staying in sync with other things that you're not controlling. Any thoughts on Ghost BC? I think they're cool. I know... No, I don't know anybody in Ghost. I know tangentially like a person who knows a person who knows a person. And I know that it's like they're supposed to be all anonymous or whatever, but I know somebody who could tell me who that person is, the bass player. Anyway, having a click is great when you don't have a drummer. That's true. Having a click is great when you do have a drummer too. Having a click can actually be fucking fantastic for the right particular sort of circumstance. Do an episode on K-pop. Maybe at some point that'd be fun. I know K-pop is now like on a different level, different dimension than American pop. Just so much higher quality. Thoughts on Atlanta as a music hub? I don't know a whole lot about Atlanta, to be 100% honest. It's there are fair number of other like smaller hubs, and I did mention like Austin as being a hub, but Atlanta definitely is at the same level, I feel like, as Austin and Seattle, and there's other ones across the United States which are like minor level hubs. But in terms of like the real ones, if that makes any sense, the ones where like people really flock to, it comes down to New York, LA, and Nashville in the United States. You like Porcupine Tree? I do like Porcupine Tree. Do you hear famous last words? What? I don't understand that. You've asked that several times. I don't know. Size when flaccid, size when erect. About 10 flaccid and 42 erect. Have you taught classically trained musicians jazz? What do you think the biggest difference between classically trained musicians, jazz pop musicians, the way they process harmonies is? Harmonies is not the difference between jazz and jazz pop and classical musicians. It's all rhythm. It comes down to syncopation, how well they can deal and hang with syncopation. And you know, I got a lot of flack for my video talking about the difference between classical musicians and jazz musicians. A lot of classical musicians hated that video, but it doesn't matter. Like, classical musicians have a very difficult time understanding and perceiving syncopation, just across the board. It does not come with the degree of precision, rhythmic precision, that it does for other musicians, because the music doesn't dictate it for the vast majority of the time. So, yeah. Do you think Chicago would be a hub that's closer to a minor hub that's closer to New York, Nashville, etc.? Chicago, I know very little about. Very few musicians go to Chicago. That's just a thing that you would think that more musicians would go to Chicago because of the history, like Chicago blues and whatever. I don't know of anybody. I've never heard of anybody going to Chicago. Weird. University thesis. I didn't have one. I went to Berkeley. You don't have to write a thesis there. What is your favorite jazz album? Does this album differ from what you consider the best jazz album? Well, the favorite changes all the time. Right now, probably The Black Saint and the Sinner Lady by Charles Mingus is probably not the best, but it's the one I really dig. It's so good. It's so good. Yawning. Yummy. Favorite teacher at Berkeley? I had a couple teachers I really vibed with. The one I want to mention, Marty Epstein. She wasn't a jazz person. She was a classical composition teacher, but I really dug her classes. There's also, I just kind of vibed with her really well. Yakov Gubanov, I'm not sure if he teaches there anymore, but he was Shostakovich's last student. It's kind of ridiculous saying that. Like, I studied with Shostakovich's last student, but he was probably one of the few true musical geniuses I've ever met. And I got a chance to study with him. Adam, how strict are the auditions to get into Berklee or a conservatory? Depends on which conservatory you go to. Berkleys are pretty strict by this point, thankfully, because I think when you have a strict audition, that means that the pool of musicians that go there are quite good. Yeah. Hey, Adam, I feel like when I improvise, I stick to patterns and riffs I already know. Do you have any advice on how to improvise better? Learn more stuff. If you think about improvisation as a conversation. When you stick to the riffs and things that you already know, you're just regurgitating words you already know. And the way that you learn more words is you read more. You find out more things about the world around you. You read more. So the more that you listen, the more that you try and figure out other words and riffs, the more that you'll expand your vocabulary. It's all about vocabulary. So try and learn more songs, learn more things to play, and then try improvising. Because when you don't know that many songs, right? You don't know that many riffs. You don't know that many things in general. What else are you going to do? You're going to stick to what you already know. So, Adam, Don't Break My Heart, make a make-believe rag cover. I already did that. I don't have a 7-string anymore. Hello, Adam. Russia loves you. Oh my gosh. Well, I love you too. Unfortunately, I can't read Cyrillic alphabet, but thank you for that nice comment. Do you perceive any kind of elitism on jazz? As a classical musician, it's very easy to find musicians with heads up all their asses. Oh, yeah, that's true. And there's a ton of elitism in jazz, same as there is in classical music. There's a ton of elitism. I understand why people get defensive, but I definitely see that. You love music. Or, sorry, you love Russia. Wow. Okay. All right. We're getting weirdly nationalistic and political right now. Very strange time that we're living in. Adam, let's say that I'm playing somebody else's bass line and it has a slap part, but it feels much more comfortable and natural playing it with two-handed tapping. Thoughts on subbing techniques like this? It's interesting. I'm not necessarily... It's not wrong, but it will sound different. Just think about like what the most important thing is like your ability to play it the most important thing, the sound the most important thing. Do you like the sound of it two-handed tapping better? Anyway, he's ignoring me because I'm from Argentina. Can you please dab? Is this what the kids do? You kind of like fall into it? All right, there we go. I dabbed. God damn it. He's dodging the real questions. What are the real questions? Why you so ugly? Thank you. That was asked several times. Adam is Kami, confirmed. Adam, please dab. I did dab. Thank you. I know it's very cringy. Super cringy. Way too old to do that. Oh my god. All right. The comment section is going into it. Are you single? I am not single. What's the most cringeworthy or worst memory you've had aside from that dab? That was hilarious. How bad that was. Most cringeworthy memory. I don't know. I've been in middle school before. That was pretty cringeworthy 3 years. Adam, do you have perfect pitch? Is it important to have perfect pitch as a musician? I do not, and I don't think it is, but it does help. Thoughts on Esperanza Spalding? She's really awesome. I feel like Adam's a good boyfriend. You should ask my girlfriend if that's the case. Maybe I am. Hopefully I am. Holy shit, Adam, talk about the freaking Berklee Blast. What the hell is that? How do you get people to come to your gigs as a solo songwriter? Meet a lot of people. Adam, when you studied at Berklee, besides the music department influences of the professor, did you hear anybody there say Allahu Akbar? No, I didn't. God, that was a nice troll. Worst gear decision ever? The Boss CS3 compressor. It's terrible. Sorry, I'm not single, guys. And I am straight. If it wasn't painfully obvious. how do you put backing tracks on stage? Is it some tool, or do you only use your laptop? I use my laptop. I use Ableton Live, and I use an audio interface. You have to have like some kind of audio interface in order for the laptop to send signal to like the PA system or something like that. So get a decent audio interface. Fortunately, the cheap ones are like only $100 now, so you're gonna need that if you want to run tracks and stuff. You ask us something. All right. Well, if you want me to ask people something, I'm always curious, because it always is so cool to know, where is everybody from? I would love to see if some people are, where people are from. Worst state you've been on? It wasn't obvious they were straight. Wow. I take that as a compliment, by the way. Worst date that I was ever on. Wasn't with my current girlfriend. Thank God. Holy crap. Yeah. Look at all these people. This is so cool. Everybody's from fucking everywhere. Somebody's from Silver Spring, my hometown. That's incredible. Wow. That's so cool. What are people from the U.S., honestly, what are the people from, like, the U.S. doing up this late? You should go to bed. Everybody watching this should be from someplace other than where I'm from, because it's really late here. Puerto Rico. I've been there. That's so cool. I am watching you. I will go to bed in like 15 minutes. Do you think about creating your new program of playing bass guitar, position of the hands, picking, and much more? I'm waiting. I'm going to think that question was talking about, like, are you going to create more content? Are you going to create more things about playing bass guitar? Yes, I am. The vast majority of the people who have like subscribed to my channel and clicked on my channel have subscribed because of my general knowledge, general music stuff. So I'm gonna be kind of gearing more of my material towards music, general music stuff. But I do have a couple of lessons planned for the future in the next month or two about specifically bass related stuff, because I do want to do more bass related stuff. That'd be really fun. Yummy. All right. Have you ever bombed a gig? Yes, I have. Jeff Buckley. He's really amazing. How do you record your gigs for the vlogs? Well, a lot of the time I use this guy. It's a GoPro. It's a cheap GoPro, but it's a GoPro. I like it. A lot of the time, I'll use this guy. It's an iPhone. Basically something discreet, because it, can sometimes be a real pain in the ass to like carry a full-on DSLR, like a full-on camera. But the past couple gig vlogs, I have used some camera footage. The other thing is I'll use a Zoom recorder. I don't have it with me right now, but I'll use a Zoom recorder. Geez, so many questions. Hey boy, how many roommates do you have? One, my girlfriend, and that's it. And I love it. I love not having that many roommates. For 5 years, I had... Okay, well, let me say this. When I first moved to New York, I had 3 roommates. Then my girlfriend moved in, and there were 4 people. And then the landlord expanded the apartment we were in. So then there were 6 people living in the same apartment. So for a while, I had a lot of roommates, and then I don't. And now it's great. Jazz is life. It is. Play a song for us. It's way too late right now. Next live stream, I might do some stuff. How many bass do you have currently own? I own 4 basses. I only really use one though. What's up with Mahavishnu Orchestra? Mahavishnu Orchestra is awesome. If you don't know Mahavishnu Orchestra, you should probably check out Mahavishnu Orchestra. It's like Jimi Hendrix, but weird and fusiony and Indian, but awesome. How long have you been dating your girlfriend? A very long time. How can a non-music school person get started as a gigging musician? It depends on what your goals are, but the first thing to do is to meet people who are gigging. I think when you find people who are gigging and just let it be known that you want to play with them, I think that helps a lot. Places to meet people are Craigslist, but also like jam sessions. Yeah. Have you heard of the YouTuber music producer Assisto Aces hacking? I haven't, no. Jesus Christ, so many questions. This is crowded. All right. I'm going to try and pick one. Do you have a day schedule? Not really, just because it changes a lot. Yeah, I don't have anything particular right now. I want to. Favorite key? D minor, of course, because it is the saddest of all keys. D minor is my favorite key. So Pantera is the best metal band. They're fucking cool. Adam, when you play live gigs, depending on if you use a strap on your bass or just have it lying on your lap, does your 11-inch flaccid penis ever get in the way? I love when people start writing a real question and then just turns into something else, knowing that I'll read the whole question out loud. What camera behind your shoulders? That's my new Canon Rebel TS6i. Does your girlfriend play music too? She does. She is a singer. She was in the last gig vlog. She's Justina Maria Soto. Adam, what's your current bass? It's a P bass. It's a Mexican P bass. And I changed out the pickups in my Mexican P bass. Can we see the cat? I don't know where the fuck the cat went. He's running around meowing or something. Is there a piece you personally hate? I really can't stand... What can I not stand? Right now I'm cool on everything, but... Creating a family, being a freelance musician, is it a challenge? How do you plan to deal with it? I wouldn't start a family with my current lifestyle and job of being a freelance musician, because it's just the income stream is too erratic right now. Have you tried any G&L basses? They're more Fender than Fender. They are. I really actually, that's why I like them a lot. They are kind of expensive though. So, do you make money from YouTube? I do. Not a whole hell of a lot, to be honest. And my CPM, which if you know anything about like YouTube advertising, for some reason is really low. I think that's because a lot of people just don't click on the ads, which is fine. But I do make some money on YouTube, not enough to cover rent by any stretch, but I do decent, which is fine. And I do have a Patreon, which definitely helps too. So between the two of them, I do pretty decently online. It's like as a side job to my main career. What can I do, Adam? I love music, but I can't find an effective way to express what I feel into a song. I feel like when people look at an end goal and not know how to get to the end goal, it can be difficult. I think when you finding a private teacher always helps. When you say like, I want to express how I feel in a song, it's kind of a vague goal. Maybe try and figure out exactly what you want to do. Like, do I want to write a song? How do I write a song? What are the steps necessary to write a song? Well, the steps necessary, well, first I need to think, okay, well, I need to play an instrument. What sort of instrument do I want to play? Okay, well, maybe I want to play guitar. Okay, well, how do I play guitar? Well, that's kind of open-ended. Maybe how do I play basic guitar? What is the basic way of playing guitar? Okay, playing open chords. How do I play open chords? So whenever you have a goal, you really want to figure out how to break down the goal into smaller goals. Think about that when you try and do that. What pitch shifter pedals work well with bass? I don't know a whole lot. I've been thinking about getting like the Electro Harmonix Pitchfork, just because it has a lot of cool features and it's really small, and I really like small pedals. But anyway, what pickup do you have in your bass, and how does it compare to standard P bass pickup? I have the DiMarzio split P pickup, and it's a million times better than the standard. I mean, that's the reason why I have my Mexican P bass. Mexican P bass, the one that I have, I just like how it feels. It's like kind of grimy, and it's not like really perfect, but there's something about it just like I really connect with. But I hated the electronics of the original. It just it just sounded dumb. So I got this DiMarzio split P, which is a fairly nice, very, very loud pickup, and now it looks cool. No, I'm yawning. You're muted? No, I'm not. How do I play jazz? Very carefully. You like memes? I do meme occasionally. One thing, I'm old. I'm not that old, but I'm older than the digital natives with their memes. So I got to be very careful on what memes I use, because the worst thing I can do is use the wrong meme at the wrong time. My audio is muted? What? No, it isn't. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hopefully people can hear me. Okay. Cool. Good. Loud and clear. Why do people... do I like talking? Apparently I do like the sound of my own voice, which is why I do these live streams. I've been live streaming for a fucking hour. Adam, where's Eve? She's in the other room sleeping. Her name's not Eve, though. Vaporwave. Are you circumcised? I envy INTJs an INTP. I am an INTJ, by the way. Why do people keep saying the audio's wrong? That's weird. Is it Adam and Steve? It's not. I'm, again, painfully straight. Can I circumcise your future son? No, you can't. Do you think it's worth trying to run a YouTube channel while at music school and gigging? I think if you can manage it, that'd be awesome. I think running a YouTube channel is an awesome idea. Just the big thing that I found, like the success in this YouTube channel, is it's like, God, I'm so tired. The reason why I feel like I've had success is just because I've been constantly posting videos like once a week, every week for almost 2 years now. It's like a year and a half now. So just make sure that whatever you do, if you run a YouTube channel, just make sure it's consistent. Why are you straight? 'Cause I like big butts, and I cannot lie. Oh God, I'm tired. What are your religious beliefs? I am a Pastafarian, clearly. My family are all Presbyterians. My grandfathers on both sides of my family were Presbyterian ministers and missionaries, so I'm a very Presbyterian culturally, but I am not in any sort of way spiritually. Is my girlfriend nice? No, not at all. She's awesome, though. She's a native New Yorker. And if you know anything about people from New York City, you know that they are quite aggressive human beings, but they're awesome. Do you think Trump is hot? No, I don't. What ethnicity are your parents and grandparents? My white. Here's a fun fact. My dad was born in Cameroon, West Africa. And because my grandparents on his side were missionaries and they were like spreading the word of Jesus Christ. So that's what they were doing in Africa. But by the time that they went over there, they realized that, oh, everybody over here is Christian anyway. So then they just became like Christian pastors and stuff. So that's what my family was from. Yeah. Have you ever done weed? I have done weed. Will any genre currently compete academically with jazz or classical music? At some point, rock music probably will. And if not rock, then probably hip-hop in some way, or electronic music. I won't say rock or hip-hop. I'll say electronic music. That's where I think in 20 years, electronic music will be heavily academized. It's already starting that way. Like dubspot, like that's like dubspot's like starting. It's like, I guess, you know, the music education industry is really starting there. So anyway. Can you discuss weed and its role in pop culture? I really don't have any sort of authority to talk about weed. Have you ever felt like time spent practicing secondary instruments would be better spent practicing your primary instrument, or do you think it reinforces it? What's a good secondary primary ratio? It's a hard one to answer. I mean, some people will give you specifics, but I do think that time spent away from practicing bass, like when I'm practicing guitar and keyboard, is like, it can be kind of painful, especially like when I go out of like practice with it. But I do think everything reinforces one another at some degree. Like rhythm is rhythm no matter what instrument you play on. So if you're just focusing on playing with solid rhythm on every instrument, you're gonna be good across the board. So, yeah, there we go. Oh man, I love these troll comments. They're so good. I'm not gonna end the stream with a dab. I'm too old for dabbing. Sorry. Favorite meme? Ooh, it's hard to answer. It's a hard one to answer. There's so many by this point. What is gent? I don't know what gent is. Can somebody please tell me what gent is? Adam, are you into the DCI? The DCI? No, I'm not. Like as in the DC Extended Universe? No, I'm not. How is Bappy formed? Gent is bad. Thoughts on Hiatus Coyote? I think they're cool. That whole like progressive neo soul thing is cool. But, you know, I think the whole like Jay Dilla drunken feel for the drums is kind of overplayed by this point. But I think they're probably the last band that I'm like cool with the Jay Dilla drunken thing. Anyway, as a bass player, what it's like as a bass player, what is it like to date a singer? As a bass player, or as like a human being, or as another musician? I mean, I think it's cool to have somebody who knows, who can like kind of understand your lifestyle, like understand, oh, hey, he's live streaming at 4 a.m. Okay, that's just something that he does. Or like just coming home like late from a gig and just being completely cool with it because that's something that they do anyway. I think that's kind of nice. Something that I don't really get, or you wouldn't normally get in a significant other. Thoughts on Steely Dan? The other, if anybody knows Clark Backstresser, I really doubt that anybody here would know him, but he's a really awesome keyboard player, music director, singer, beautiful voice on this guy. We were coming back from a gig, and he was playing some Steely Dan, and I was like, what the hell is this? This is so good. And he was like, yo, this is some Steely Dan. And I'd been sleeping on Steely Dan for forever because to me they were just like soft rock, like something like dad rock or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, does this mean that I'm old, that I like Steely Dan? And yeah, it was great. I'm going to go to bed. I'm tired. I'm not making any sense right now. Steely Dan is where I'm going to end this conversation on. Yes, anyway, so thanks guys for watching. Does Bruno Mars is gay? Yeah, wow. 268 people are now going to stop watching. That's crazy. 268 people are watching me, and I'm exhausted. No, I love you. Bye. Yeah, it's 4 a.m. I'm gonna pass out. I'm gonna die. Yeah.